Hi. In this video, we are going to talk about ways to be with changes. Sometimes changes are easy, sometimes they're difficult, sometimes we want the change, sometimes we don't. So we're going to talk a little bit about change, some strategies for being with and tolerating or even enjoying change. And we're also going to be using a visual and sound app called Bloom by Brian Eno and Peter Chilvers. I hope I'm saying his name correctly, by Opal. We'll be using that and a bit of a description about using that in our practice related to change and changing sounds and changing visuals. It's always nice to practice on things that are either simple or hopefully enjoyable. Not always enjoyable, but when it is enjoyable, nice. That really is conducive to our continuing practice. So with that, enjoy the video.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Resilience Practices. I'm Vivian Hermes, and I am your co host for today, along with Frank Baird. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
And we want to welcome you all. Thank you for joining on this interesting evening. We were just having a conversation about it right before we got on. And in order to kind of help us with what's to come over the course of the day, weeks, months ahead, we thought we would take on the theme of changes for the month. And we're going to start with an intro with Frank facilitating. Take it away, Frank.
Thank you. So today, I can't even talk. So we've playfully been saying tonight is our last class before Armageddon, because if you believe anything the media ever says, I like how the media is just like the universal evil these days, even though it's not. But democracy is um, hanging on by a thread, and so we thought it would be a good night to focus on change. And tonight's topic is changes. If only I could sing, I would do that more like David Bowie. Um, but I can't. So here's what change is about. So, in case you didn't know this, change is always happening. The thing is, it's only noticeable or meaningful when it passes a threshold, right? So it's not noticeable if it's below a threshold. Um, and that threshold may be like our ability to sense it, like say light waves on our eyes or sound waves in our ears or like sensations in our skin. Um, or the threshold may be around meaningfulness, because some things, so many things we take for granted, and so we don't have to pay attention to it, and so we don't. So it's always happening, but mostly we notice it when we want it to happen or when we definitely don't want it to happen. It's over that threshold of something that we really, really want or over the threshold of something we really, really don't want. But I think conceptually, it's really helpful to remember that change is always happening. It's inevitable. So let's talk a little bit about anxiety then. Because anxiety is related to change. It's either a state produced by change or it's a state of readiness regarding change. Um, Timothy Leary, before he got a certain other reputation for his research, had this theory that anxiety is the the fundamental human emotion. Like it's an existential thing. And if you talk to the existentialists, they'll agree. But like it's ever present. And one suggestion might be it's ever present because if change is always happening, then there's always some uncertainty. And that means anxiety has a place because anxiety is an emotion, and emotions are action urges preparing the body to do something. So it would make sense then if anxiety was like an ever-present state. Doesn't mean it's bothersome, right? It's not like, say, a clinical anxiety disorder. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are always, being tormented by anxiety. But the way we talk about it, it's hard to say even low levels of anxiety are like not a problem. But if you think of it in this context, emotions are action urges and anxiety is an emotion, and it's an unease that acts as an alert that something needs to be done. Actually, I would revise that, even though I wrote this slide. I would say it's an alert that something needs to be paid attention to, because the basic doing is paying attention. And then depending on what's happening and where it's happening, the next doing in a sequence is something else. Like it might be something like noticing, paying more attention to the stimuli that has alerted anxiety or that anxiety has alerted us to. One of the doings might be thinking about something, feeling about something. It might be taking action. So that would be something like, if I'm afraid, then when I know what's going on, right? So anxiety is the alert, and I pay attention, and then I notice that there is a danger present, and I take appropriate action, which could be run away, could be freeze, could be attack. Um, or what I might do sequentially is refrain from taking action. So these are all the different kinds of doings. And the challenge is with anxiety, actually with any emotion, right now, what do I need to do? So, right now, if we think about focusing our attention, so anxiety calls to our attention, it asks us to focus on particular things. Do I need to be focusing on this or these things? If so, why do I need to be focusing on them? If so, what can I do now that I focused on it? Now that I've got this information, what can I do? And then the next question is, am I going to do it? Because sometimes I know what I can do or should do, and I may not. So, really, when you're paying attention to anxiety right now, why am I paying attention to this? It's meaningful in some way, or I'm paying attention because everybody else is paying attention. Um, what can I do about this? If I can do something, am I going to do it? I'm thinking about like some of you may have the TV on, or maybe checking your phones for the news. There's some news happening right now. And here's an invitation for tonight's practice. Right now, do I need to be focusing on this? Right now, do I need to be focusing on election results? Um, if so, answer these questions. Why do I need to be doing this? What can I do with this information? And am I going to do what I can do with this information right now? I would suggest a lot of times the uh, category is if not. Do I need to be focusing on this right now? No, because I can't do anything about it. I already voted. There's nothing more I can do except wait and see what the results are. So watching the results, I mean, some people watch it like a sports game, right? Like who's going to get a touchdown or who's going to get on third? Who's going to get Pennsylvania? But even then, if you're going to practice for right now, can you shift your attention just for now? I'd say this is a pretty exciting opportunity because to the extent that your attention wants to go someplace, either because of anxiety or excitement, right now is a good opportunity to be practicing not doing that. A good opportunity to be going right now. I'm going to focus my attention on this practice. So, right now, while practicing, the invitation is where's your attention? Is it where you want it to be? So often that is meditation or attention anchor. Then bring it to that meditation or attention anchor. Shift attention from the thoughts, the feelings, the news, the TV, the phone. So shifting attention. The other is reconfiguring the body because the body gets configured in particular ways in the presence of certain kinds of emotions. So one of the ways that, say, anxiety is going to configure the body is get us tense, get us tight, potentially increase the heart rate, potentially increase breathing. So you can adjust your body while you're practicing or adjust your breathing. Adjusting breathing is probably the most reliable way of adjusting your body state because breathing affects everything you're doing. So if you slow down your breathing, it's going to help your body be more relaxed. It may not be relaxed, it may not be relaxed enough, but it will help shift the tension in your body because the breathing really regulates it all. So tonight, what we're going to do is in our practice, I'm going to invite you to focus some attention on some visuals. So there's going to be some stuff on screen to focus on, and and there'll be some sounds to focus on. So I'm going to say very little once we get settled into the meditation, but you'll hear sounds and you can pay attention to the sounds, like let the sounds and this visual image that's shifting, um, let them be your attention anchors. So whenever attention wanders off, gets pulled away, bring them back to these anchors. Either bring your sight back to looking at the screen, or probably what will happen is the sounds that will be playing. So there's some gentle musical notes. When they sound, they might bring your attention back, right? You might not have to go, oh, yeah, I have to pay attention to the sound. It might be you hear the sound and attention just comes back. But the invitation for tonight's practice is, especially if you've got some kind of news going on right now because of the election, experiment with setting it aside for the duration of the practice. You may not be able to do that, and that's okay. Or you may be able to do it for part of the practice. That's okay. It's practice. That means you can't fail. You can only learn things from what you're doing and trying to do. So in this one, I would say keep your eyes open unless you don't want to look at the screen. I mean, you won't know until you see the kind of image that's on the screen. It's also pleasant shifting colors. But you could close your eyes and just listen to the sound, or you could uh, look at the image on the screen and listen to the sound. Listen to my voice. Notice what's happening. As best you can, establish a friendly, gentle attitude toward whatever's happening and toward you. So if, for example, you are like really, really wanting to pay attention to some election results, be kind to yourself. So encourage yourself to stay with the practice, or if you exit the practice to check on something and then come back, be kind to yourself for doing that. And then, as always, whatever happens, stop if you need to. So, with that said, let's practice. So, you might start by noticing the state you're in. Are you in a, is your body filled with energy? Is it excited? Is it anxious? Something else? Or is it tired or lethargic? Or is it at ease? So you might notice the state you're in and then make any adjustments that might be helpful for engaging in practice. As you're settling in, I'm going to stop sharing this screen and share a different one. And again, during this practice, notice the sounds, notice the sights. Notice where attention is now. And can you bring attention to just seeing and just hearing? Letting thinking be in the background, letting any emotions be in the background, letting any other sensations be in the background. Just for now, these images and these sounds remembering to pay attention. this moment. Nothing else needs your attention. Other things may want your attention. But for now, just for now, for the duration of this practice, bring attention back to seeing and hearing. Just for now, just seeing, just hearing. Anything else can wait. as we near the end of our practice. If you'd like, you might express some appreciation to yourself for taking this time to practice. I have an inner narrator, so sometimes I'll say things like, "Thank you for your attention," or "I appreciate your hanging out with me." Or "Thank you for your time." Or just "Thank you." And if your eyes are closed, you might open them. If they've been open looking at the screen, you might look around. You might move your head around, stretch, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, yawn if you'd like. And this will conclude our practice for tonight. Thank you for your practice. And now we have time for comments, questions,
That's exactly what I
explorations.
was thinking. Hi, Frank. Thank you for that. But somebody just wrote hypnotizing and so calming. I was able to stay focused without distractions pulling me away. And I found that so hypnotic. I don't know if you can tell, but I think even my
You've
face
got the little,
changed.
yeah,
Is
that's
that an app? What is
yes. So that
uh,
is an app by Brian Eno and
oh,
somebody else it's called Bloom. And they have several, I think one's called Bloom 10 Worlds, and it just has more options. But what it is it either generates this on its own or you can generate it. Like you may have seen my pointer going by and tapping once in a while. I tried to do it without the
oh,
pointer being seen.
okay.
Right. So you can make it as quiet as you want, as noisy as you want. Brian Eno was the pioneer in ambient music. And so he also has done art installations, and then he put this together as an app, and I
Nice.
love it. It has that effect for me anyway. Like if I have it in the background, it helps me concentrate and focus.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes because it's pretty slow moving and mostly pleasant, it calls my attention back to it really easy, and it's really nice to look at. So I think sometimes the challenge with either anxiety or excitement is that it's really hard to pull your attention away. Sometimes something like this might help. It might not help enough, right? Like, some of you may have been going like, "Okay, okay, come on, come on, come on," or checking the phone or TV or something. Um, but that kind of sound and visual stimuli can be a nice attention anchor.
Not only that, it actually connected me to how excitement actually makes you tired, but you kind of live on the adrenaline of it.
Uh-huh.
You know, for me, it actually made me realize just how tired I am. I don't know if that happened for anyone else, but I have some comments. One
Uh-huh.
says, "Thank you." And also, last week's practice with the breathing to 10 was, what did I miss it? Oh, because you're jumping. It was very helpful and used every day.
Nice, nice.
And,
Yeah, I
another
use the
comment says,
counting regularly, and I don't remember if I said this last week, but, I say this playfully. Grifters will say it with enthusiasm, but it's guaranteed to work. If you keep counting 1 to 10, 1 to 10, eventually you'll fall asleep. Now that could be because you counted 1 to 10 for 18 hours and you fell asleep, or it could be that it helped you relax and go to sleep, but it's very, very reliable for me. And then if you
Another
combine
comment.
it, right? If you combine the 1 to 10 and something like this app,
Yeah.
how nice. And then mindful eating simultaneously. Why not do it all at once?
No, we don't wanna fall asleep and choke on our bite. Um, Next comment says, "Thank you, was soothed and enveloped by auditory and visual tones, didn't want it to end."
Nice. Yeah, how
Mm,
often does that happen during a meditation?
right?
I mean, I really like
No, it's
meditating,
nice.
and sometimes I go, "Okay, I'm done now." Um, but yeah, with
Yeah.
this, I'm not done as soon.
Another
Pictures.
comment says, "The high pitches were a bit disturbing and made me itch. I really like parts, but as I said, high pitches are disturbing to me. Could you print the name of this practice sounds?" I think that was it, Bloom. Um, the I was actually having the same reaction to that person because I have them in my earbuds, and it
Uh-huh.
was really interesting. The high pitches were kind of piercing in a way. They were like literally doing a stab at times. Thank you for pointing that out because I was like, is maybe it's just me and I'm still having some healing going on. But yeah, it wasn't so much in my ear as much as like
Yeah, sometimes
interestingly.
so I'm trying to, here we go.
I
So
can't stop yawning.
this is the Apple App Store, um, where you can
Oh,
see it,
thank you.
and,
Yeah.
we receive no money for,
Right.
but, Bloom, I think, is free, so
Mm.
you can and on an iPad or an iPhone, you just touch it, and then it repeats for a while, um, and then fades
Oh.
away, and then you can also do it so that it just plays by itself.
The tune that you created or any tune? Like a
Well, it'll play like this kind of scenario. So you can, I don't remember if you can record. I don't think you can. I think it just plays whatever it plays. But you can change the colors. You can't change the shapes. But the other thing to think about, like, things like, so I don't know if some of you have this happen. Um, Sometimes certain notes have like an emotional tone to them. And so you might notice, let me see if I can, to make sure I quit the right thing and not Zoom. Um, so, so sometimes you might notice like a mood shifting because of certain notes. And you might notice, so my experience around the notes is that the lower notes are more soothing and the higher notes are more jarring.
yeah.
Um, but then that's really important to pay attention to, right? Because part of what you're doing is registering pleasant and unpleasant. Um, what you might notice, like, so these are all these opportunities with this app. What you might notice is, like with the unpleasant sounds, does your attention wander more easily or does it run away? Or with the unpleasant sounds, does a lot of judgment start happening or a lot of unpleasant thoughts happen? And then similarly with the lower notes, either do you feel calmer or more peaceful, or do you feel sleepy? Right, but a, a great opportunity, and I've used this a number of times. This is the first time using it online, but I used to use it in person, and part of it, I would deliberately make some like jarring sounds. Um, Because the goal is, right, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, can I keep paying attention to it?
Mhm.
I tried to do very little of that tonight because the world is an unpleasant place or an exciting place at the moment. But
And
I
also people have they're using different ways of listening, so some are ambient speakers, some of them are AirPods or EarPods, and It could be really or headphones, so it could that can affect, right, the
Oh, yeah.
experience of the
Yeah.
sound very much.
Especially
We do
those
have a
high
q
notes. Those high notes are, like, really pokey. I appreciate
yeah,
hearing about the itching because
yeah.
I can understand that. I don't experience itching, but I do experience, like, flinching a little bit. And then you may also notice that sometimes there'd be these high notes, but if there were other notes with them, they'd kind of blend into something kind of pleasant, right? So, like, the note by itself might be hard to handle, but other notes in relation to it can shift it. Again, lots
Frank,
of opportunities to play. Oh, go ahead.
we do have a clarification question whether this is also available on Android. Do you
I
know?
I don't know
I
because
didn't
I
yeah.
only know Apple. I've been totally co-opted by Apple. I'm thinking yes, because why not? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. They also have a
Apple
video.
also does not endorse we don't get endorsed.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah, we're not endorsed
just
by
to
anybody.
clarify.
I
Yeah,
endorse you, you endorse me, that's as far as it
by all our
goes.
people. Our
That's
people
right.
endorse us. How
That's right. So, somebody said I have ringing constantly in my left ear. I'm curious that if you heard that while this was going on, and if you did, was it more or less, or did you not? Like, what I notice is, like I never know if it's tinnitus or tinnitus, but I have
tinnitus.
it in my my right ear, and, like, I can hear it now. Sometimes I hear it, but it's quieter, but, like, right now, it's pretty loud, but during that, I didn't notice it.
Mm,
That doesn't mean it's not happening, right? What it means is my
right.
attention is shifted. Often, one of the challenges with tinnitus or tinnitus
Tinnitus.
in addition to pronouncing it correctly, um, is, uh, is that uh we give into despair and get really irritated and feel hopeless and helpless because of it, and that only makes it worse. That it really helps to find a way to, lean in the direction of acceptance or to do something like this, or there are some if you look on YouTube, there are a lot of different sound qualities, like, I used to only know about white noise, but there's black noise and pink noise and brown noise.
Brown.
And, depending the right frequency can kind of, mask it, kinda make it disappear. I'm not sure if like, sometimes I think I've heard of sounds that kind of like noise canceling headphones, the way they work is, sound comes in, but they sort of do an opposite sound so that it makes it null. I don't know if you can do that with tinnitus. Um, uh, um But I think so.
I wanna just also add as far as tinnitus there, because I suffered it for a very long time, and I thought it was because I went to loud concerts, but, um, it's oftentimes related to other health conditions, so if you do have it, definitely get it checked out. It's not something to, like, dismiss as a symptom, and I'll just share with you all that I had 1 root canal. I removed it. Literally, as soon as the tooth came out, the ear stopped ringing.
Oh, wow.
It was a very
I'm going to the
distinct
dentist tomorrow.
I'm pulling out all my teeth.
I'll have to next week, we'll be gumming our instructions, but,
But
we'll be
yeah,
so much more
so
at peace.
just know there might be so many high blood pressure can cause tinnitus.
Yeah.
Um, just so many things that are you wouldn't think are related, but you're one integrated system. So I like to think of tinnitus now as an alarm bell.
Oh,
You don't know
nice.
if to somewhere in the body, but it's an alarm.
Or an alert. It may not be alarming,
Okay.
but yeah, like, mine will tell me, when I've, peaked over the caffeine limit,
You've
but
noticed that? You've
but
noticed that
oh, yeah,
it
yeah,
go how
that
louder?
it'll become a lot louder. I, of course, blame my daughter. She screamed into my ear once, right? So I'll blame her, not all the concerts I went to, but it's also, right, age related, health related, so I can't really blame anybody.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I heard it wasn't in
That
your
is
ear,
true.
but a nerve reaction. Yeah,
Mhm. Which probably explains why taking out the tooth, um, probably
helped.
cleaning it out.
Yeah, just go in and rearrange our nerves a little bit.
Yes.
But the other thing is, right, like, nerves are about, the signals and activation, and so to the extent that you can calm your body, potentially you
Mm.
can also calm the tinnitus, but, I'm gonna always say it slowly now. Um, but often though, it's when we become more calm and it's quieter that it's the most irritating.
Yeah.
That and like floaters in my eye, I go, "I just want high definition vision and clear hearing," and apparently you don't get that necessarily as a biological being. So any other, comments, questions before we go? I can't show you the, the what we're doing next week. Oh, it doesn't matter, I just put "to be determined" 'cause we didn't finish talking about what we're gonna do. I like to think
So
of
we're gonna
that
do grief.
as we're performing uncertainty during the month of change and uncertainty, so
I thought we were gonna do grief and loss.
you're doing it next week. Do you wanna do grief and loss?
We'll do grief and loss
Let's do so,
because
come
that
back.
also might still be fitting
Yeah,
our
yeah. Well,
situation.
for somebody, right, somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that anybody will miss election season or
No.
political ads, but, maybe so
But we're
grief
not
and
gonna talk about grief and loss related to elections unless you wanna apply it to elections to your circumstances. We'll apply it
I'm
as
gonna
we know
just do it
grief and loss.
with life. So, so we're gonna need to go for now. Thank you all for being here. Come back next week and we'll do some more. I guess, do we have to prepare to be sad next week if it's gonna
No.
be grief and loss? No, because we're gonna talk about how to be in relation to it, not having to experience it.
Exactly.
Nice, I like that. All right. Thanks, Vivian. I'll see you next week too.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you everyone for being here. Have a beautiful rest of your week.
Bye, everybody.